In the golden age of my kingdom, I was a ruler blessed not just by my people, but by the very silence of the forest that trusted me. My heart found its truest companion not in a crown or court, but in a creature of brilliant green feathers and eyes that held the depth of the oldest woods. He was my parrot, my confidant, the gentle soul who listened to my every worry without judgment. His presence was a constant, soothing melody in the grand, often lonely, symphony of my palace. His perch was empty one morning, a sight that sent an immediate, cold dread through me. He approached with a softness in his gait that told me difficult words were coming. I already felt the ache of his impending absence, a hollow space opening up deep within my chest, where his cheerful chatter usually resided. I braced myself, my kingly composure feeling like a fragile shell. "Your Majesty," he began, his voice a familiar, gentle rustle. "With a heavy heart, I must ask your leave." He explained his need to journey far to visit his aging parents in the dense, mist-shrouded forests beyond the seventh mountain. He promised a swift return, his eyes pleading for my understanding. The request was simple, yet it felt like a monumental test of my love for him. Could I, a king who commanded armies, bear the silence his departure would bring? The very air in my throne room seemed to grow still and cold, as if anticipating the loneliness to come. I looked into his loyal, intelligent eyes, and knew I could not refuse him this simple familial duty no matter the personal cost to my own spirit. With a heart heavier than any crown, I granted his wish, my voice barely a whisper. "You must promise me," I said, my fingers gently stroking his vibrant feathers. "Swear to me on our friendship, you will return to me soon." The words tasted like ash, for a part of me feared the dangers of the wild, unknown paths he would travel. He bowed his head, a gesture of profound respect and affection, and gave his solemn vow. I watched him take flight from my balcony, a brilliant green speck against the vast, unforgiving blue sky, until he vanished from my sight entirely. The emptiness he left behind was instantaneous and profound, a deep, echoing silence that settled over the palace and into my very soul. Days stretched into an eternity without him. The palace, once filled with life, felt like a beautifully decorated tomb. My royal duties became monotonous chores, my meals tasteless, and the laughter of the court sounded hollow and distant. I found myself constantly gazing out from the same balcony, scanning the horizons for that familiar, hopeful shape, my heart leaping at every passing bird, only to sink again with disappointment. My most trusted minister noticed my profound melancholy and tried to offer counsel, but his words were empty. No one could understand the unique bond I shared with my feathered brother, a bond that was now stretched across countless miles. Meanwhile, my loyal friend beat his wings against the wind, driven by a dual purpose: the love for his parents and the promise to his king. He soared over emerald canopies and snaking rivers that glittered like silver threads in the sunlight. He navigated through sudden, violent storms that threatened to dash him against jagged mountain peaks, his small body battling elements I could scarcely imagine from my sheltered palace. His journey was a testament to his devotion. Each flap of his wings a beat of determination to honor his word to me and to fulfill his duty to his family. He finally reached the ancient, towering trees of his birthplace, a realm where the air hummed with old magic. The reunion with his parents was a burst of joyous cries and tangled wings, a flood of shared stories and remembered affection. For a few precious days he was simply their child again, not the companion to a king, and he reveled in the simple, profound comfort of their presence. But as the time came for his departure, a somber mood fell over them. They understood the weight of his promise, but their hearts ached at another long separation. It was then that his father, his eyes gleaming with ancient wisdom, revealed a secret guarded by their lineage for generations. He presented my parrot with a fruit that seemed to pulse with a soft internal light, its skin shimmering with a faint, otherworldly glow. "This is no ordinary fruit, my son," he whispered, his voice full of reverence. "It holds the very essence of life. For any who are old or ill, it grants renewed youth and perfect health. Take this to your king. It is the greatest gift we can offer for his kindness to you." Thrilled beyond measure, my parrot carefully took the miraculous gift, his heart swelling with pride and excitement. He could already envision my joyous reaction. the years of strain and weariness melting from my face. This was more than a fruit. It was a symbol of his love and a testament to our unbreakable bond. After a final emotional farewell, he began the long journey home, the magical fruit held securely in his beak. His flight was fueled by eagerness, each mile bringing him closer to me and to the incredible moment of presentation he played over and over in his mind. The return flight was even more arduous, the weight of the fruit and the burden of its immense value slowing his progress. The skies, once clear, now seemed to conspire against him with buffeting winds and a relentless sun. Fatigue, a heavy and insidious weight, began to seep into his muscles. His wings, once strong and sure, now ached with a burning pain. Spotting the welcoming shade of a large, solitary banyan tree standing in a deserted stretch of land, he made a fateful decision. He would rest for just a moment, just long enough to gather his strength for the final push toward home and his king. He settled on a low, thick branch, placing the glowing fruit carefully beside him. The shade was cool, the silence absolute. His eyes, heavy with exhaustion, fluttered shut. His breathing slowed into the deep, rhythmic pattern of sleep. He did not see the slow, sinister movement in the roots below. He did not hear the faint, dry whisper of scale on earth as a venomous serpent, drawn by the fruit's magical energy, emerged from a dark crevice in the ancient tree. Its hood flared, its black, forked tongue tasting the air, sensing the powerful life force within the gift. The serpent coiled itself around the branch, its cold, lidless eyes fixed on the pulsating fruit. It did not seek to steal it, only to corrupt it. It leaned forward and sank a single, deadly fang into the radiant skin, injecting a pure drop of its potent venom directly into the fruit's core. The light within the fruit flickered violently, a brief, internal struggle between life and death, before stabilizing into a darker, muted, and sinister glow. The snake, its purpose complete, slithered silently back into the shadows, leaving no trace of its terrible deed. My parrot slept on, completely unaware that his gift of life had been transformed into an instrument of death. He awoke refreshed, his energy restored, and continued his flight home with renewed vigor. Soon the familiar spires of my palace rose gloriously on the horizon, and his heart soared higher than he did. He flew directly to my throne room, ignoring the startled gasps of the guards, and landed gracefully before me. I was overwhelmed with joy, my weeks of loneliness vanishing in an instant at the sight of my returned friend. "Your Majesty," he cried out, his voice filled with triumph and affection. "I have brought you a gift beyond compare, a token from my family that holds a power most miraculous." He presented the fruit, which now seemed to hum with a mysterious deep purple energy. "This will grant you eternal youth and banish all illness," he proclaimed proudly. A wide, genuine smile spread across my face, my heart swelling with gratitude for this incredible, thoughtful offering. I reached out to take it, my mind already dreaming of a long, vigorous life ruling my kingdom. But my cautious minister, a man whose duty was to suspect even the air I breathed, stepped forward abruptly. "A moment, my lord," he interjected, his voice sharp with warning. "A gift from the wild must always be tested. Appearances, especially magical ones, can be dangerously deceptive." His words were a cold splash of water on my excitement. A flicker of doubt, small but persistent, ignited in my mind. The minister's logic was sound, a necessary protocol for a king. I nodded reluctantly, my joy dampened by sudden, unwelcome caution. "Very well," I agreed, my voice losing its previous warmth. "Let it be tested." A servant from the kitchen, a young and healthy man, was summoned. He approached without fear, trusting his king completely. He took a small bite from the fruit offered to him, a smile on his face as he chewed the strange, shimmering flesh. For a breath, nothing happened. Then his smile vanished, replaced by a look of utter confusion that quickly twisted into pure agony. His hands flew to his throat, a horrible guttural choking sound escaping his lips. His eyes widened in terror, staring directly at me, pleading for a help that could not come. His body convulsed violently, and then he collapsed to the marble floor with a sickening thud, lying completely still. The room erupted into screams and shouts of panic. My own heart hammered against my ribs, not in joy, but in a blind, consuming terror that quickly curdled into white-hot rage. I spun toward my parrot, who was staring in horrified disbelief at the lifeless servant. "You see," I roared, my voice echoing through the now silent hall, every ounce of my love for him shattered by betrayal. "You see what you have done. You tried to kill me. You brought death disguised as a gift." He tried to speak, to cry out his innocence, but no sound emerged from his beak, only a stunned, silent gasp. The evidence was irrefutable before us. My grief, my fear, and my fury fused into a single unforgiving command. "Seize him!" I shouted, my voice trembling with a rage I could not control. "He is a traitor! Execute him at once!" His cries were not of defiance, but of profound confusion and heartbreak. He did not struggle as the guards took him. He just kept looking at me, his intelligent eyes filled with a pain I was too angry to comprehend. I turned my back, unable to bear the sight of him, my mind screaming with the perceived betrayal. The order was carried out swiftly. My oldest, most loyal friend was gone, his life extinguished by my own command. The fruit, this cursed thing, was taken and thrown far beyond the palace walls into a patch of barren soil, a thing too evil to be touched or buried. Guilt is a patient hunter. It did not strike me immediately. First came the numbness, then the stubborn justification of my actions. I had protected my kingdom, I told myself. I had made a difficult but necessary decision. I issued a decree that everyone must avoid the accursed tree that soon sprouted from the spot where the fruit was discarded, its branches twisting into strange, gnarled shapes bearing the same deceptive fruit. I tried to forget the look in his eyes, but it haunted my dreams. I was a king living in a gilded cage of my own rage and regret, a prisoner in my own palace. The truth arrived not with a fanfare, but with the quiet miracle of a desperate couple. An old, starving man and his wife, with nothing left to lose, stumbled upon the forbidden tree. Seeing the plump, strangely glowing fruit, they decided a quick death was preferable to slow starvation. They ate their fill and, expecting to die, fell into a deep sleep under its branches. They awoke not to death, but to a rebirth. Their wrinkles had smoothed, their backs straightened, and a youthful energy coursed through their veins. They ran through the city, not old and frail, but young and vibrant, shouting of the miracle tree. The news reached me like a physical blow, knocking the air from my lungs. I stood frozen on my balcony, the world tilting around me. I ordered my oldest, most ill courtier to be brought to the tree immediately, my heart pounding a frantic, terrified rhythm against my ribs. With the entire court watching, he ate a slice of the fruit. Before our disbelieving eyes, his pallor turned healthy, his stooped posture straightened, and his weak voice became strong and clear. The fruit was magical. It was always magical. The serpent's venom, it must have been a temporary poison, neutralized by the soil and the tree's own innate magic. The truth was a thunderclap that shattered my very soul. I had not killed a traitor. I had murdered my most innocent, loyal friend in a blind fit of rage. The weight of my irreversible sin crushed me where I stood, a king brought to his knees not by an enemy but by his own tragic, unforgivable error.